Hello. Maybe just listen to this one and don't watch it necessarily. I'm just going to be holding my camera and talking. I think I'm going to title this video something like The Me Who I Am Today 2023. I don't know what day it is because I haven't looked at a calendar in several days. Probably somewhere around the 9th of January 2023. Today is the first day I've been able to walk, go on a walk. I've been able to walk around my studio and stuff since late September 2022. It's the first time I've gone on a walk since then, basically. So we'll just call it 4 months. The last several walks I've gone on, I haven't really bothered to make videos just because I hadn't really felt like I needed to. It was more important to me at the time to just enjoy the walk itself and sort of bask in the mundane qualities of the present moment, which is quite nice. And I have already been walking for 40 minutes or something. I'll end up going close to 3.6 miles, which is about the maximum I've ever been able to do since I've been injured. Which that's going slowly. I did go get a recommendation to go back to talk to the surgeon, and the process has been well underway for quite a while now for me to get approved for financial aid, so they can actually go in and cut out the parts of my spine that are in the wrong location. Not necessarily excited to get that surgery. I'd prefer to be in a place where I didn't have to have it at all, considering how well back surgeries tend to turn out. I mean, consider that phrase, right? Back surgery. Have you ever met anyone? Have you ever heard of anyone who's associated with the phrase having had back surgery and just thinking to yourselves, oh yeah, that back surgery was amazing, really changed his whole life, really turned it around? After his back surgery, after their back surgery, in this hypothetical, we're not talking about me, after their back surgery, everything started looking up for them. They are the picture of health. Anybody even think of a time where that was a thought that went through your head? Oh yeah, that back surgery sounded awesome. No, you never hear that. No one even thinks about that. It's always like, oh man, that guy had to go through back surgery. I mean, that person had to go through back surgery. You know what that means? They're going to have to go through back surgery again in just a couple of years, because that's how it seems to work. That can't just be me, right? These guys are putting a horse away up in this little thing across the street. Man, it is foggy. How short the vision is. You would think on a day so beautiful it would have other beautiful qualities like smelling nice, but it smells like car exhaust and burning coal. It kind of reeks out here. Kind of leaves an acrid flavor in your mouth. It's probably because all of the coal plants that burn coal around here. People just burn coal in their fireplaces still. out here. You always get that smell. In the colder months around here. Move back over here. Hi, sheepies. Oh, those are goats. Those are some tubby goats. They're well fed. So while on this walk, I'm sort of marking and marking the passage of time in that way really had me reflecting over the last 4 months. I've said it a couple of times in the last couple of years, but it continues to be true that the person I am today is more different than any of the people I've ever been in the past. Last time I was on this road making a TikTok to go see a little chicken I called Chicken Friend, I was a huge fan of Elon Musk, for example. I was a person who had never even heard of Andrew Tate. I was a person who respected a lot of other people in authority positions. And I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but now I seem to be someone who is a person that carries none of those features with him. For various reasons. Hope everybody had a good holiday season, a fun Festivus for the rest of us. Happy Kwanzaa, joyous Hanukkah, a festive Saturnalia. I know that there's a lot of people that often get real sad or depressed around the holidays specifically. It seems to be something of a global phenomenon, and I've never really been that person or those types of people until this year, where the holidays found themselves to be very challenging, incredibly difficult, and quite depressing this year. And not for maybe the obvious reason you might be thinking, where I'm just cooped up inside and haven't seen anybody. I haven't been back to visit my friends in southern Utah for close to 5 years now. And all of that does suck. It's not a set of happy memories when you think about that kind of thing. In fact, it's quite hard to pinpoint the exact thing. Well, certain things come to mind, but I'm not going to bring them up on a publicly facing video channel. On a different set of notes, I was I can't remember, I think it was in October, I started seeing like a life coach, something akin to a therapist. I can't remember if I've mentioned this on this channel or not. I suppose it doesn't matter, but that seems to be quite helpful. Looking at executive function disorders, which are incredibly common for people with ADHD, like me. ADHD and depressive symptoms tend to overlap more significantly than most other qualities, I'll call them. So it's been interesting to learn about that kind of stuff. Get a little more into the weeds and into the details, and trying different toolkits in the work bag of mental health, which is actually why I am on this walk today. Last several days, right at about 12 o'clock lunchtime, I have this very uncomfortable tightness around the width of my head. Tightness around in between my shoulder blades, next to my spine, and then just a very uncomfortable, unhealthy feeling throughout the rest of me. Something I've never quite experienced before. It's very strange. I've had problems with clenching my jaw in the past, especially when I had braces, where I would clench my jaw together, and then the muscles and musculature around my jaw and temples would turn like rock hard and be quite painful. But this is a little bit higher than that, around the band of like my forehead and around to the back of my head. I've never quite experienced anything like it. It's very strange. I've had problems in between my shoulder blades before. That's nothing new. But why at the same time every day, regardless of what time I've been going to sleep or getting up? It's really weird. So today I kind of laid on my little exercise mat for a while, and was able to do some of my exercises yesterday and the day before, considering this my exercise for today. And once I started feeling a little bit better, it's like, all right, I've gone through similar enough processes before to know that it's time to start knocking the rust off the gears. If I can walk, I should probably be walking, so here I am walking. One of the things that I mentioned a bit ago with my life coach was executive dysfunction, which, if you're unfamiliar with the term, essentially refers to when you want to do something, when you feel like you should do something, when something is worth doing or even needed doing, but you just can't bring yourself to do it for some reason. That's what that's called. And I have that quite badly in most things most of the time now, I've come to realize. I just can't be asked. I just can't be bothered. And it's not like you don't care. Hi, friend. Are you enjoying whatever it is you are eating? Are you supposed to be out? It's not like you don't care. Because of course you care, because otherwise you wouldn't even be thinking about it. But right, it's like things that I used to enjoy doing, like editing video comes to mind for some reason. I used to do that quite a bit. I used to be quite skilled at it, and now I can't even bring myself to edit a video even though I've wanted to. Somebody's burning something. It smells amazing. Almost smells like burning bamboo. Man, that's a pleasant departure. Particulate matter in my lungs. So that is one thing that I've been working on, thinking about, right? The two main sources of that, as far as I can remember, is anxiety about failing a thing, or being judged for doing it poorly, or something along those lines, or not being able to break down the task into smaller pieces that you can actually work on, start immediately, and accomplish within, a set time frame. And the other thing I've been working on, looking into quite a bit, is how your mind and your brain, your body, your subconscious will align itself with the things that it already assumes is your identity, right? It'll fight to withhold your identity, and you'll find that there are things about your own identity that are there that you didn't necessarily choose to put there. They're either things that you discovered about yourself, or that you kind of accidentally taught yourself, whether it's true or false. Boy, these goats and these goats are having a conversation. Oh, my hand is falling asleep, getting cold. Let's get away from the noisy goats a little bit so I can think. Cute little critters. Them screaming at each other is just the kind of mood brightener that I have learned to appreciate. Takes me out of my head for a second. So identity, for the most part, the upholding of an identity is, a good thing, right? The ego holy cow, why is all the traffic on the road all of a sudden? Must just be that time of day. I like this road because there's normally not freaking anybody on it in the middle of the day. So the ego is one of the mind's tools it uses to build an identity, right? And that identity is used to protect oneself in some amount of capacity. So one of the things that has come up in these sort of meditations and conversations is that somewhere along the line, one of my roommates in university sort of coined a phrase that so perfectly describes how I felt about myself and my situation at the time. And it's hard not to kind of just accept it as true, because apparently it's been rattling around in my brain forever and is, part of my identity now. Which is that, I don't know, he's a very smart dude, very observant, but I can't even remember the conversation that led to it. But the conclusion, the point, is that he said the phrase, well, Jacksons can't be choosers. And that is just devastating, right? To just come to the realization that it's like, have I been unintentionally manifesting that as true by just believing it, basically? Right? And it became such a joke of a thing to say It's just like, and then once you've got a little pile of evidence for anything in your mind, right? Then anything that can fit into that pile does, and then the pile grows and reinforces itself. And now you've just got like, look at all this evidence. Of course it's true. Obviously it's true, right? How could it not be true? Look at this giant pile of evidence. Even little things that don't necessarily matter, they're complete random chance, right? We'll go to a coffee shop and they'll be like, yeah, just give me a tea and a chocolate muffin. They're like, we're out of tea and chocolate muffins. And it's like, well, Jacksons can't be choosers, so I guess just give me whatever you got. Right, that type of not quite negative self-talk, right? It's not self-loathing or hatred or depression or, right? It's like more subtle than that. It's more insidious and potentially more harmful, at least in the long run. Maybe not directly, but so the me who I am today recognizes that that's not necessarily true. It's just a shorthand that has been somewhat successful in protecting my ego and identity in the past. So to shed that, you just kind of have to shine a spotlight on it. And then just start building evidence to the contrary. Sorting through the evidence that you have and being like, that doesn't even belong in there. So that's kind of what I've been doing the last little bit. It's hard for me to enjoy being a YouTuber, considering that I've never made a cent from YouTube. And I started my channel in 2006. So now that it's 2023, so outdated in my ways of thinking about YouTube and videos and all that kind of stuff that I had largely given up on even enjoying just the process of making it, right? Being too focused on the outcomes and focused on all the other stuff, right? It's one of the things that we talked about with my executive dysfunction of not being able to edit videos. It's like, yeah, if you're editing a video to make you money, like, that's not why you started to make the video, right? You started to make the video because you wanted to explore a fun idea or just, enjoy the present moment of editing or creating or doing any number. I gotta use my other hand. Sorry if the sound shifts too much, but I gotta switch hands. Like, this present moment, my hand hurts like a mother effer because it's so cold and all the circulation has run out of this hand because I've been holding my phone up next to my mouth. So that was largely part of the inspiration when I was doing this again. Like, it didn't necessarily feel like an obligation to my viewers or whatever. It didn't necessarily feel like an addiction, like, oh, I'm out on a walk, I should be using this time to, participate in social media and whatever. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, the reason I have a video journal is so I can journal. And this is just that. I mean, it's not for anybody but me. And, I've privated almost everything on this channel now because I was trying to make it into something that it's not. I was trying to force it. And you just can't ever force anything. It just never works. I don't know why my mind thought of this immediately, but like, have you seen Facebook's like stock price? Have you seen Meta's stock price in the last little bit? It's like the metaverse, the biggest like $1 trillion company with all the ads and all the details of every minutia of every human being's personal lives, all the power and wealth and money in the world. You can't force a thing to happen. That's a silly example, but something about me just trying to like make money doing something I enjoy or did enjoy. I don't know that I'm technically back to enjoying it. And Facebook trying to rule the world, and more power than any god or king that has ever come before them. And they can't do it. Right? It's just, there's a Chinese, I'm pretty sure it's like old Chinese, Wu Wei. I'm not sure the pronunciation because it's tonal language, but WUWEI is kind of the Romanicized, I can't remember the word, the English letters. Wu Wei. It's the path of no effort. It's the principle of basically just that. You can't force it. If you force it, if you're trying too hard, you're just enacting a will that is unaligned with everything else that's going on. And it'll never work out in your favor. It's like the path of least resistance. It's kind of hard to explain because it's such a cool, positive, like, way of looking at things, but it could be so easily twisted, so subtle in its like meanings that it's hard to not be like, oh yeah, that means like it's okay to give up, like it's that kind of thing. It's like, that's not what it means at all. But maybe listen to someone else talk about it a little more eloquently than I am here in this moment. But yeah, 2023, here we are. We've made it another year. My testosterone shots seem to be less impactful than I was kind of hoping that they would be, but I'm still injured, so we'll kind of have to see how that goes. I have noticed that my actual body is different. It's just rounder and fuller, and I have like more like muscle just within the muscles that were already there. It's kind of hard to explain. It's maybe more dense without necessarily being larger. But so hopefully this walk will help, like I said, knock the rust off of some of the cogs and sprockets and get them moving again. But I guess that's everything. The fog is getting really thick and dense now. Can't really see more than 20 or 30 feet in front of you. I guess you can see those towers pretty well. That's probably 100 feet or more. But it's pretty dang dark. Also, my battery seems to be draining, so love you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful year, and I'll see you whenever I see you next. Okay, bye.